Okay, thanks for the introduction. First of all, I would like to thank the two organizers and also the local staff. Organization is excellent, I think. Thanks a lot. Okay, so what I would like to discuss today is the following typical situation. You have a reaction diffusion equation, and the state 1 will invade the state 0. And the question is, what is the speed of invasion? So typically, the invasion may occur at a constant speed, okay, at a constant speed, or sometimes you have some accelerating phenomena. Okay, so this is what I would like to discuss. So, okay. When I tested it, okay, it's fine, it's fine. Okay, it's fine, I know, because I have some movies after, so I'll read it. Okay. So what the content of my talk is the following. So I will present some population dynamics model. First of all, I would like to recall some results which goes back to the 30s, so very old results, which concern exponentially bonded tails in KPP situations where the inversion occurs at a constant speed. Then I will recall some more recent results in 2010, like this, where in KPP situation, you introduce heavy tails which lead to accelerate the front. Okay? And in the last section, there are some few months ago results where we introduce some alley effect to compete with the heavy tail. And the question is, who is winning the competition between the slowing alley effect and the accelerating heavy tails? Okay? Okay, so let's recall some some population dynamics model. So first we are going to observe some invasion that occurs at a constant speed in life sciences. So for example, in chemistry, you have the well-known Belousov-Sabotinsky reaction, which is an oscillatory reaction, and where you can observe periodic waves, okay, which are moving at a constant speed. I will maybe show this movie. Also, you can observe a propagation of flame, and in biology, there are a lot of such observations. I will show a propagation of a front of calcium during fecundation of sea urchin eggs. So maybe I'll just show two movies. Okay, so the first one is the well-known. Oh, okay. So there is some music. Okay, so the well-known chemical reaction where you can observe concentric waves which expand at a constant speed. Okay, so very beautiful pattern here, and also okay. And here is a propagation of calcium front in sea urchin eggs during fecundation. Okay, so it's rather quick, but let's do it another time. So you can see this propagation, let's say, at a constant speed. So just to motivate the following. Okay, now I'm fine. Okay. Another example is the following. In epidemiology, for example, this is the propagation of plague in Europe in the 14th century. Okay, so more or less it started from Marseille, which is here in Europe, and it propagates rather quickly. And roughly speaking, if you draw a line from Marseille to Copenhagen, let's say, roughly speaking, you can see that there is invasion at a constant speed. Okay, so you have the propagation of the plague in the 14th century in Europe. And by the way, some people ask me where is Montpellier. So Montpellier is here, okay, close to the sea, between Marseille and Barcelona. Okay. So I will not discuss today of this, but this is a very active topic in the field. So I will just mention it briefly. So this is the situation where invasion requires evolution. Okay, typically when a species invades some new territories, it has to adapt to local gradient of temperature, of altitude, or anything. So if you want to invade the territory, you have to evolve. You have to adapt to local conditions. So in this context, typically we consider density of population, which are structured by a space variable, which can be seen here, and also a phenotypic trait. Okay? And at each position, you have to adapt your trait to the local environment. Okay? So this is a rather active field, but just I will not discuss anymore that. Okay. So this was a brief introduction. And as everybody knows here, when you want to observe, to modelize this invasion, you can use reaction diffusion equations. U of t and x is density of individuals at time t and space position x. Okay? And you look at these reaction diffusion equations. Okay? So first I want to say a few words on different shape of the nonlinearity. Okay? Okay, so the well-known one, the most famous one, which goes back to the 30s, is the Fisher-Kapipy nonlinearity. Okay? So 0 and 1 are 0 of the function f. Okay? It is positive in between. Okay? And what is very important, it is that it is below the slope at the origin. Okay? So it says that the growth rate is maximal at low density. Okay? And when the density increases, then the competition term come in the game in order to saturate the population. So this is the very famous Fisher-Kapipy nonlinearity, and it is below the slope at 0. Okay? So the most simple example is u1 minus u with a coefficient in front if you want. Okay? So this is the Fisher-Kapipy nonlinearity. Growth rate is maximal at low density. Okay? But now you may want to modelize a weak alley effect due to lack of genetic diversity. For example, the KPP assumption may be unrealistic. That is that the growth rate is not maximal at low density. Okay, so we call that a weak alley effect. And an example is such a monostable nonlinearity, vanishes at 0 and 1, positive in the middle, but it is not below the slope at 0. Okay? So this is a weak alley effect in a non-degenerate case. So typically you can sandwich this between two KPP functions, okay, and more or less you have the same qualitative results as before. Okay, you can put a KPP function from below and from above. Okay, so you have more or less the same qualitative results, even it's a bit more complicated. But my main nonlinearity will be at the end of the talk this one. This is a monostable nonlinearity which take into account a weak alley effect, but which is degenerate at 0. Okay? So maybe I should mention that this is not ignition nonlinearity. It is strictly positive between 0 and 1. Okay? So it is not 0 here. Okay? And the most simple example is u to the beta, where beta is strictly larger than 1, 1 minus u. Okay, so you have a 0 slope at the origin, okay, and then you are positive like this. Okay, so it takes into account a weak alley effect, but the slope at 0 is 0. So this beta here, which is the power of u, is very important compared with the KPP situation. Okay. Last, I will not talk about this one today, but I have to mention it. If you want to modelize a strong alley effect, okay, in this case, at low density, the growth is even negative. Okay, you can usually take a bistable nonlinearity. Okay, I will not discuss that today because the qualitative results are quite different. So my main focus will be to recall the KPP result, and then to show some new results on these nonlinearity. Okay, which take into account a weak alley effect through this beta here. Okay, so I've said a few words on nonlinearity, so let's say a few words on dispersal. I want also to discuss a few on non-local dispersal, which is very used in for seeds. Okay, so rather than the standard Laplacian, you can consider non-local dispersal effect. Okay, here G is an even kernel of total mass 1. Okay, and G of x minus y is the probability of jumping from the position y to x. Okay, so you take into account long-range dispersal, and if you count how many people arrive at position x, well, you can compute this. This is G convolution with u, and if you compute how many people leave, you get minus u. So here, you just have counted how many people arrive and how many people leave from X, and you have this integral differential model. Okay? And okay, to conclude this first section, okay, maybe I'll say a few words on the fractional Laplacian, which is also a non-local operator, and which is defined through the Fourier transform by the symbol xi to the 2 alpha. Here alpha is between 0 and 1, okay? And when alpha is 1, you recover the standard Laplacian. Okay? So this comes in the game when, rather than considering Brownian process, you look at Levy process, which take into account jump effects, and it is therefore expected that such a diffusion will accelerate the front. Okay? So I will say a few words now on that. Okay. Okay, so now I want to recall a very famous result for exponentially bounded tails, I will explain, in KPP situations. Okay? So I look at the KPP equation here. Okay, you have diffusion and you have a KPP nonlinearity. And I'm taking an initial data which is front-like in the sense that there is some mass on the left. Okay, the limit is strictly positive. And it goes to 0 on the right like an exponential. Okay? And lambda is between 0, and if lambda is infinite, it means that it is compactly supported on the right. Okay, on the left, let's say. So it is 0 on the right. Okay? And the question is, how does the stable state 1 invade the unstable 0? So just picture is that. Okay, so U naught is between 0 and 1. Everything happens between 0 and 1. So you take this, like this, and like an exponential here. And how does 1 will invade 0? What is the speed, let's say, more or less here, even if it's not for monototic? Okay. So in this context, there is the notion of spreading speed, which is well known. We say that a speed c is a spreading speed if, when I go slower than the spreading speed, all I see is the 1. And if I go quicker than the spreading speed, all I see is the 0. Okay, so this is the notion of spreading speed if it exists. Okay. Well, in this context, it is very well known that there is a critical speed. In KPP situation, if you linearize around 0, you have a lot of information. So if you linearize around 0 the KPP equation, you get this. Of course, you can get rid of this thanks to an exponential, and then you have the heat kernel which comes in the game. And you see that there is a position which is very relevant, which is x close to c star t, where c star is 2 square root of r. Okay, so there is a critical speed which comes in the game on the linearized equation, and this is known that for compactly supported data, okay, the spreading speed exists and is C étoile, C star. Okay, so if the initial data is 0 on the right, then it propagates with a speed c star. Okay, and a bit more is known. If the initial data is going to 0 like an exponential with a lambda, then there is a spreading speed which is in some sense given by the lambda. Okay, so when lambda is small, there is this relation, and with lambda is larger, you saturate at the minimal speed, which is 2 square root of r. Okay, this is not difficult to see it formally, because you just plug an ansatz exponential to the minus lambda x minus ct, you plug in the equation, and you see that this comes rather easily. Okay, so when the initial data decays like an exponential with a lambda, the spreading speed exists and is given by the lambda. Okay, so this goes back to the Fisher, Kolmogorov, Petrovsky, Piskunov in the 30s, and the literature on this subject is very large. Okay, there's a lot of results on this and a variation of this. Okay. Now let me conclude this section with the case of non-local diffusion. So now I look at this integral differential equation, and here the tail is the one of the kernel. In the previous equation, the tail was that of the initial data. Okay, so it is not included in the equation in some sense. Here, the initial data will be compactly supported, but what will play the role, the relevant tail, sorry, is the one of the kernel of diffusion. Okay, and when this kernel has an exponentially bounded tail, okay, the results are similar to what I mentioned before. Okay, you have a propagation, there is a spreading speed, okay, that you can compute. So, like as I mentioned, the tail is induced by the equation itself through G, and not by the initial data. Okay. Okay. So these was some results on exponentially bounded tails in KPP situations. It goes back maybe 80 years before, and now in 2010 and later, there were some first results which show acceleration in KPP situation using AV tails. So, yes, the beginning gave maybe the Reed's paradox of rapid plant migration. So what happened is the following. After a glaciations period, it took 10,000 years for the oak to conquer, let's say, the north of Britain. Okay, it took 10,000 years. But in view of the observed average sea dispersal, the expected time was like 1 million years. So there is an acceleration phenomena in this invasion, which cannot be reproduced by the previous models. Okay, so something has accelerated the process. So what have done such an acceleration? So there are two possible explanations, or a combination of these two explanations. The one is that rare but long-range dispersal events are allowed. So typically, we are going to consider non-local diffusion where the kernel has AV tails, not exponentially bounded like before. Okay? And another possibility is more or less the same idea, but on the initial data. Okay? You have AV tails for initial data, so the tail is not exponentially bounded. Okay? So this may lead to acceleration, and this is the result I will show. Okay, so very naive definition, but I have to say that. What is an AV tail? A function phi is said to have an AV tail at plus infinity if for O small epsilon, this quantity goes to plus infinity as x tends to plus infinity. Okay, so this is in contrast with this exponentially bounded tail. This is the definition of AV tail. Okay, you have a range of possible AV tails. Very EV1 are in no LP, okay, 1 over logarithm of x to the something. Then you have algebraic tail, which will play a very important role in the next section. Algebraic tails are very relevant, okay. And then you have light tails among AV1s. So this is what I call AV tails. So typically now we can think of algebraic tails. Okay, so now if we are interested in the invasion processes in the KPP equation, the local one, okay, local KPP equation, with an initial data which is front-like before, but which has AV tail. Okay? Then it was proved by Hamel and Rock 5 years ago that acceleration occurs. More precisely, the level set of the solution travel exponentially fast as time tends to infinity. Okay, so this means that there is no spreading speed, okay, because the level sets are accelerating as time tends to infinity. The level sets, I take any level set of the solution between 0 and 1, and I follow the level set. It tends to plus infinity by accelerating, okay, exponentially fast. Okay, so if we replace exponentially bounded tail by, let's say, algebraic tails or any AV tails, then the level set of the solution travel exponentially fast to the right. So this is an acceleration phenomenon. And in particular, spreading speed does not exist. Okay? Okay. The analogous result was proved by Garnier for integral differential equation. Okay? As before, the initial data is left compactly supported, but the dispersion kernel has heavy tails, and you have the same qualitative result. There is acceleration of the level set, which goes to the right exponentially fast. Okay? So this is the analogous result for the integral differential equation. Okay? Okay, maybe also there is the analogous result for the fractional Laplacian. Maybe I go quickly on it, which was proved by Cabret and Roquejoffre in 2013, where actually the fractional Laplacian has algebraic tails. So even if the initial data is compactly supported, it will lead to acceleration. Okay? Because of the heavy tails of the fractional Laplacian, the algebraic tails of the fractional Laplacian. So these three results have say more or less the same thing on different models. If you have heavy tails, one invades zero by accelerating in an exponentially fast. Okay? Okay, so they are rather recent results. Okay, so now my purpose is to consider models with heavy tails, which tend to accelerate the invasion, and I want to consider a weak Allee effect by putting, let's say, a beta as a power of u. Beta is larger than 1. So typically, this will tend to slow down the process, and the question is what is the balance between this beta and between the algebraic tail of the initial data or of the dispersal kernel. Okay? So let's start with the local case. Okay, so let's make a brief pause. So I look at this equation, okay, local equation, and I put a beta here, which is larger than 1. So this is not KPP situation. There is a weak Allee effect. I take initial data, which is front-like, and which has an algebraic tail. Okay, so 1 over x to the alpha. So now I look at this. Okay, so this is u0, and so alpha wants to accelerate. This is an heavy tail, and my nonlinearity, because of this beta, wants to slow, slowing effect. Okay, so the question is what is the balance between alpha and beta? Who is winning the competition between the accelerating alpha and the slowing beta? Okay? So how does the state 1 invade the state 0? Just let me say something. In contrast with the KPP situation, where any compactly supported initial data will propagate, because of this beta, if you take a compactly supported data, which is too small in a L1 sense, sometimes you have quenching. D'accord? So, okay? So it may occur that propagation does not occur because of this beta if the L1 mass, let's say the total mass, is too small. Okay, this was proved by Zlatos in 2005. So because of my front-like assumption, I do not have such any problem because the mass is infinite. Okay, so there is propagation, even with this beta. So my question is, how does the state 1 invade the state 0? Okay. So I will make a proof of this theorem, which is 2 lines. So I have algebraic tails, and it is possible to cancel the acceleration by Allee effect. In this range, it means that give me any alpha as a power of the algebraic tail, and if you take a beta large enough, Allee effect large enough, then it will block the acceleration that alpha tends to induce. Okay, so this is very in sharp contrast with the KPP situations, because in KPP situations, as soon as you put heavy tail, you accelerate. Okay? Here you can fight with the accelerating alpha thanks to the beta. Okay, so I make a proof of this because this is so simple. So this is two lines. What you want to do is to find a speed and so you want to construct a super solution which is algebraic, okay? A super solution of the traveling wave equation. So what you want is this. I can get rid of the other term because if it is a super solution of the linear equation, it is a super solution of the equation. So what I want is W to be a super solution of the traveling wave equation. So I want this to be negative for large Z. Okay? You just compute. So what you get is P plus 1 Z P plus 2. Okay? Then you have a good sign minus. Cp z to the p plus 1. And here you get z to the p beta. Okay? And you want this to be negative for large z. So you have this term to be dominant. So you want p plus 1 to be smaller. Of course, it is smaller than this one, but you want to be smaller than this one. If p is like this, you can do that for large z. Okay? So what does it mean? It means that 1 over beta minus 1 is smaller than p. Okay? But you also want the initial ordering in order to apply the comparison principle. So you have this algebraic tail to be above the one of the initial data, which is 1 over x to the alpha. So you have p to be smaller than alpha. So here you have a super solution, and here you have ordering at initial time. So it works. And this condition is exactly the condition which appears very naturally here. So you need beta larger than 1 plus 1 over alpha. So the proof is very simple. Of course, you have to make it properly, but it is quite easy. So you just compute an algebraic super solution of the traveling wave equation. And to be able to do that, okay, you need this condition. Okay? So the phenomena is rather new because you have blocked acceleration, but the proof is very simple. Okay? So you have, let's say, immediate corollary. If you have heavy tails, which is lighter than algebraic, okay, this kind of tails, okay, any small Allee effect blocks the acceleration. Okay, this is the immediate corollary, and again, this is in contrast with the KPP situation, because in KPP situation, all these tails lead to acceleration. Here, any small Allee effect will block the acceleration of these tails. This is just corollary. Okay. Now, of course, what you want to do is that in the reverse range of parameters, you want to show acceleration. Okay. So this is what happened. If I consider that the Allee effect is smaller than, let's say, the algebraic effect of the tail, then actually, if you neglect diffusion and you linearize, you take the higher order term around 0, you have this ODE, okay? So I get rid of diffusion and of the minus W, let's say, and I have this ODE where X serves as a parameter. So you can compute the solution easily, you get this, and as before in the KPP situation, you suspect there is a relevant value which comes in the game, you suspect that the level set should follow this. Okay? X should follow some constant t to this number, which is strictly larger than 1. Okay, so this will lead to acceleration. So in this range, this is strictly larger than 1. So the level set should tends to plus infinity by accelerating like a polynomial. Okay? So this is what I've proved very recently. So in the other range of parameter, there is acceleration. And we can actually sandwich the level sets. Okay? Take any lambda between 0 and 1 and follow the level set. Okay? The level set is here. It is sandwiched between up to minus epsilon and plus epsilon here, between what I have showed in the previous slide. Okay? So this shows that the level set travel polynomially fast and there is acceleration. So the proof consists in a perturbation of the solution of the ODE I showed before. So some computation and technical difficulties, but this is more or less the idea. Okay, then you have immediate corollary. If the heavy tail is heavier than algebraic, then you can put any Allier effect that you want. You will not block the acceleration. Okay, so this is first conclusion on the equation, on the equation with algebraic tail, alpha algebraic tail, and beta Allier effect. Okay, so you have this hyperbola, which separate the region where there is acceleration from the one where there is no acceleration. Okay, so when beta equals 1, okay, there is acceleration, and this is the Hamel-Roch result, 2010. Okay, when beta is strictly larger, then you have this weak Allier effect, which tends to balance the acceleration alpha. So if alpha is very large, the algebraic tail, of course, is heavy, but with a large alpha, so you just need a small of beta to block the acceleration. Okay, and you have the reverse situation. If alpha is very small, you need a lot of Allier effect to block acceleration. So you have this hyperbola separation between acceleration and no acceleration. Okay. Great. Now I have to say a word on ongoing results for the case when you have non-local dispersal. Okay, so the situation is as before. So I have non-local dispersal, and the kernel of dispersal has, for the moment, algebraic tail. Okay, it plays the role of the initial data in the previous example. And my initial data is left compactly supported. So the question is the same. We expect 1 to invite 0. And what is the speed? Is there acceleration or not? Okay. So this is joint work with Jérôme Coville, quite recent and ongoing, actually. So you can block acceleration by choosing a parameter like this. So this is the analogous of the proof on the blackboard. So the idea is more or less the same, but you have to take care of non-local effects, so computations are more difficult, but the idea is to construct an algebraic super solution. So you can do that, and rather naturally, these hyperbola arise, as it arises on the blackboard. So we think this is the good hyperbola right now. Okay, so above this hyperbola, acceleration is blocked by the Allier effect. Can we say something below this hyperbola? Right now we cannot. Actually, there is another hyperbola below which we can say something. Okay, so we expect that below the previous hyperbola there is acceleration, but right now we can only prove it below the hyperbola which is below the expected one. Okay, so in this range of parameters, there is acceleration. So the proof consists in first, you just let diffuse for time 1. Okay, you just let diffusion happen. You neglect, you forget the reaction term. So doing that, you gain a tail on the right. Okay, initially on the right you have 0. after time 1, by the diffusion, thanks to the algebraic kernel of G, you gain an algebraic tail for U at time 1. Okay? Then we use the ODE as before to show acceleration. But unfortunately, this is not large enough to have the previous hyperbola. So right now we don't know how to manage this. So we can prove there is no acceleration. There is acceleration, sorry, here. Okay, so on time. So this is what I said. Okay, you notice that we do not have the same hyperbola here for the moment. So here acceleration is blocked, and here acceleration still occurs. So as I tried to explain, we suspect that this is the good one, okay, because it comes rather naturally as on the blackboard. So most probably there is acceleration below this one. Okay, so just a quick conclusion. So what I wanted to show is that in KPP situation, so like this, as soon as you put an EV tail on the initial data, on the dispersion kernel, you have acceleration. And this is the situation is different in a weak Ali effect case with a degenerate slope at 0. In that case, algebraic tails may lead or not to acceleration depending on the parameter. So the situation is rather different from here to here. There is a competition between heavy tails and weak Ali effect. Okay. So this is my conclusion.